today. We thank you to Rick French from Arch Promo Group. Arch is our newest strategic supplier. We are really excited to have the entire Arch family as part of the Promo EQP Strategic Supplier Initiative. Rick French is here today from Arch, and he's going to go over everything they've got in store for us as a strategic partner for Promo EQP's distributors for 2026. Rick, thank you for being here. Take it away.
It's my pleasure, Ian. Thank you so much, team. It's been a long time coming, and we're excited to be here. So before I start sharing slides, because I'm sure you've all been waiting to see slides all day long, let me just say this. Arch is a group of companies all owned by one common entity. And what that allows us is to remain individual, but have one group that manages what I would call our persona, our policy, the way we treat you. And I think that's what's most important. So I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. And I'm guessing that Arch is a name that many of you aren't familiar with. So I'll explain that as well. I'll start sharing my screen here. And at this point, I stopped seeing any of you. So Ian, I know you're out there. If anyone's got a hand up or something like that, do me a favor and just give me a heads up.
Absolutely. Will do.
Thank you. So I mentioned Arch is a name that you might not be familiar with. So I like to liken it to this. If I say Darden, what do you think of? Maybe you know what Darden means in the restaurant world, but maybe you don't. But when I say things like Olive Garden and Ruth's Chris and Macaroni Grill, etc., you know exactly who I'm talking about. And Arch Promo is a lot like that. Arch Promo Group owns BGD Promo. We own Drumline, Gemini, Owl, ProRose, Stromberg, and TK Sorgs. And what you won't notice by looking at this is that everything here, except for one brand I'm going to talk about, and Stromberg, is USA made. And what that means to you really is, we're not dealing with any of this tariff nonsense that you can't predict and don't know what's going to change tomorrow. Obviously, keeping jobs here in the U.S., which is nice, especially in our world. It's hard to do. And it keeps the quality control local as well. So we're absolutely thrilled to be able to tell you that almost everything we sell is made and printed in the U.S. Now, this next slide is kind of it's a call to action slide for me. We are launching a new website soon, and just take a moment and scan that code so it comes up on your phone, and you can register on our website. When you do that, specials start coming your way, and not just, obviously there's regular specials, but things that are going to be specific for Promo EQP. And then we have monthly drawings, and those add up from free setups to credit memos to free specs and all kinds of things. But if you're not registered, you'll never get those offers, and you won't be able to take advantage of them. So take a moment and scan the code. We have 7 different companies to talk about today. And what this is on the screen right this second is a small digital booklet. We have it in print also if anyone wants it, but it's a very small booklet that has all of our best sellers in it. It's our first go at coming to market under one name. And again, just assigning a one sales and marketing voice to 7 different very individual brands. If you think of us not as a company, each company, but think of us in categories, it's going to be easier for you to remember who we are and what value we bring to you in the business that you're trying to build out there. So drinkware, we've got drinkware offerings in 4 different companies: Sorgs, Howl, BGD, and ProRose. And what you'll find at Sorg is disposables, and Howl plastic, BGD's glass, and ProRose is a variety of things, and we'll get into that a little bit. And by the way, I say a little bit. I promise not to bore you with a bunch of slides that are just product. There are slides here that are just product, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. So if I go too fast, let me know. We'll send the deck out afterwards for anyone who wants to see it. But the slides are really meant to highlight what each group does. Sound good? Okay. So TK Sorgs. TK Sorgs is really the one-stop shop for disposable stuff. And when I say disposable, I'm talking about anything that you'd use in the food service business, starting with cups, from styrofoam to paper to even the sleeves that you'll find at a Starbucks or a Caribou or whatever your favorite coffee shop is, to the frosted tumbler that's in the middle of the screen. Anyone that's going to the Masters or has been to the Masters, those frosted cups that come with every beverage is exactly what we're offering here. From to plastic cups to inexpensive disposables and napkins, whether they're digitally printed, whether they're embossed, whether they're single color, so on and so forth. But you kind of get the idea of what we're doing here. And again, everything USA made. So, and in many cases, compostable and things to just make sure that we're doing our part to protect the environment. With as much as this as we sell, it's an important message that we give to, the folks that are buying the product that, yeah, the product is compostable. And so it's not going to sit around for a long time. So these are a couple of the just two examples of plates. And so, like I said, I'm going to move kind of quickly, but that's it for. I'm going to go back to that slide to finish what I'm saying about TK Sorgs. USA made product, disposable product, paper and plastic. Okay. Now, from a good, better, best perspective, we're still talking about drinkware. We move on to better with How USA. And How USA is, again, all made in the US, decorated here, and is, from a better perspective, is moving into hard plastics. So, things like samplers. The piece on the top left is a 5-ounce sampler that's shrunk down from a normal size stein, and that piece in the middle is obviously a German stein, but it's made of plastic, so on and so forth. So you can see these are silhouettes that your customers are very familiar with, that you're familiar with, that are used at events. They're used for event giveaways. You can get a little more fun with some of these in terms of color and imprint, and even light up options at How USA. It's great to know that, again, all made here. I want to point out the imprint on that top left piece, that 4-color process Columbus Brew Festival. I've already said 4-color process, so that's obvious. But what's important to know is our products are decorated right on the product, and meaning it's not a decal, right? So a lot of our competition likes to use a decal, and they look great, but they don't last as long as things that are decorated right on the product. So that's true for this company, as well as another one that I'll show you in a little bit. This is one product I just want to highlight. It's a silhouette that you've seen before. We get that, but it's a bestseller for us, and wanted to bring it to your attention. A lot like you've seen out in the marketplace with Tervis and others, the imprint is on the inside, and of course a variety of colors with the matching straw. So that is one product I'm actually going to call out individually. When I'm in the islands, I like to drink from a bucket. I don't know about you. The larger the Mai Tai, the better. And these are just two examples of, again, you think about hospitality and plastic items that are used not only to drink out of, but to serve from. A large variety of plastic buckets around from How USA. So just to recap with How, plastic, 4-color process right on the items, and I think I said it 100 times already, made in the USA. BGD would be on the best side of all this drinkware, and that comes in two ways. So we've talked about disposables and then moving up into hard plastic. And BGD, formerly known as Baltimore Glass Decorators, if you've ever done business with them, it tells you the story. We're moving into glassware here. And again, silhouettes that you're familiar with, there's nothing earth-shattering from that perspective. But what is important, again, all made in the US, and all silhouettes that your customers know. The one here that has surprised me the most, if anyone wonders, is on the right side, that stemless wine glass. Not because it's stemless. It's obviously a silhouette that everyone is familiar with. There's something about that 9-ounce size that fits in people's hands that when you sample it, it just kind of, there's just a feeling of, I like this. And so I wanted to call out that bestseller. Moving into, stemware, and I won't drain this slide, but I want you to know it's there. I do want you to note that these imprints that are on here, it's a method that we call, it has several different names in the business. It's called satin etching, and it's meant to look like laser engraving, which is hard to do on glassware in a lot of cases, at least at scale. So satin etching is affordable, and in fact, as a follow-up to this, we've got a spec sample deal for anything that's satin etched. It is $15 all in, so that includes the setup, that includes the goods, which is a great deal and a great way for you to let your customers know that you're thinking of them, or you've got something that is going to be relevant for an upcoming event. Again, more silhouettes that you're familiar with. I'm highlighting this 4-color process imprint again, because it's just so important to know that that is not any kind of a weird vinyl wrap or decal or anything. That is directly printed on the glass. And so, again, stands up to dishwashers and a little bit more wear. This has been long a bestseller at BGD. You can't tell on screen, but this is the kind of thing where if I were to hold it up, it's probably half the size of my face. So keep it in the house as a weapon. But more importantly, it's just a fantastic high quality coffee cup. And you can get coffee cups at 1,000 different places. I highlight this one because of its size and weight quality. And you might not be thinking of BGD for it. Your chances are pretty good that you're not. This is exciting. Still within the BGD portfolio, there's a new brand to the promotional marketplace, and that's called Yukon Outfitters. And you wonder where you might have seen this before. If you're ever in a Gander Mountain or a Bass Pro Shop or an REI, that's where you'll find Yukon Outfitters outdoor products. Drinkware being their flagship. And if you've ever been in a Buc-ee's, and I hope that some of you have been, if you haven't, just go. It's a cultural phenomenon. And that's all the drinkware in Buc-ee's is Yukon Outfitters. And so a lot of custom work that we do for them. And they're modeled after brands like Camelback, like Yeti, like Stanley. So the silhouettes will be familiar, but the brand is up and coming and offers a ton of color that is just not typically available in the marketplace. When I think of drinkware and I see what's out there, with the exception of just a couple of companies, it's black, it's gray, and it's navy blue and maybe silver. And you don't get these fantastic colors. Of course, we have the basics. I didn't put a navy on here because it's a given. We've got it. I didn't put red on here. We've got it. These are some of the colors that are in stock and ready to go. So a brand that's becoming a bit of a cultural phenomenon on the heels of Buc-ee's and continues to grow. And you'll note that these products are all priced out on a C. And even at the high end of these column pricing lists, they're still about 30% less than the competition. So the fact that you can make a full 40 points of margin or more and still get double-walled stainless copper insulated with a brand is just a great value proposition for you. In terms of coolers, this is Yukon Outfitters' other claim to fame. They've got these hard-sided coolers that you see on the right, a lot like a Yeti or an Arctic, and of course the backpack coolers and a slew of others. I'm only showing you a couple just to get the message across that Yukon Outfitters is available through BGD Promo exclusively. It's the only place you'll find it in the promotional market. And since I'm talking about coolers, take a look at that hard-sided cooler on the right and note the imprint across the top of it. That's in addition to the pricing, which is significant, I get it, but it's still less than a lot of the competition in those hard-sided coolers, but that imprint is unbelievable. And that's I'm going to mess this up. I think it's acrylic that's a full piece that we adhere to the top. And we've done something revolutionary where we have a boat decking material that's 3 different layers. And so just imagine that the top of this thing is gray, and the second layer is black, and the third layer is blue. And they're standard colors, right? You don't get to choose those. but then we use a router and we route out the logo. So it's durable, it's absolutely unique, and it covers the entire top of the cooler. And again, that's where if branding is our business, right? And if branding is our business, then gosh darn it, you need to decorate these things in a way that's impactful, but not overly. Um, uh, I don't know what the right word is. Not. I don't even have a better word. You need to get that branding done the right way. I wanted to highlight this sample kit that's available from Yukon Outfitters. It's $185 worth of product for $100. So that's not chump change. I get it at $100, but to get almost $200 worth of samples of that and to be able to go out and highlight this brand. There's a can cooler in here. The two best sellers in the 40 ounce and the 20 ounce tumblers are in here. The Fiesta cup is one that throws back to the red Solo cup, but it's double walled stainless copper insulated, and it comes with a ping pong ball. So for anyone that wants to do their version of drinking pong, it gives you the opportunity to have a little more fun with it. So Yukon Outfitters. So that's it for drinkware. I want to move into a couple of our other flagship brands because they're important to your business, and they're important to your business because they're important to your customers. And one of those is calendars and journals. And Drumline, again, all USA made for almost 100 years now, right in Arkansas is where we produce and ship every order to order. So it's hard to see these things on screen. The good news is all of you are familiar with journals, so it's not imperative that we talk about size and what the covers might look like. But we go from paper covers to simulated leather covers. The one in the middle is something you've seen before. It's a simulated leather that changes color when we deboss it. But again, all USA made, and that's important to know. We're not importing the wire. We're not importing the materials. Everything is made right there in Arkansas and shipped to order. So we go from small journals to large journals to, I'll skip this slide, to legal pads. I'm relatively new to Arch Promo, but I'm not new to the business. I couldn't have told you where to buy a legal pad these days. So Drumline is the place to do it in a number of different sizes. And you can obviously imprint the banners on these up the top, or you can imprint every single page, or vice versa, any of those. But any number of sizes and shapes and cover materials are available from Drumline. If you are in the calendar business, I am a little bit surprised that calendars are still as important to the marketplace as they are. And that's a reminder to you that, if you're not selling dated products, it's something to think about. Without draining the slide, I'm just kind of showing you the capabilities of 4-color process and the difference in sizing here, so that you know that it really is a one-stop shop for paper products. Gemini, this is a very interesting company and the one that I've had to learn the most about. It's the niche here is shape. If there's ever a need for you to sell something with a custom shape, Gemini is the place to do it. From key tags to air fresheners to coasters to yard signs to decals to static cling that you might see in a convenience store or on a restaurant window, and even koozies are custom shaped. And it's important for you to know that a custom shape doesn't cost any more than the standard silhouette, right? So for instance, on the right side where we cut out around the eagle's head, that didn't incur any kind of additional setup charges or anything else. Okay. So you can see this goes without saying. There's a regular, a slim. Here's some fun things in the marketplace. These are everyday sellers, folks. Custom silicone key tags that can be in any shape you want, floating key containers, etc. Hand fans. Again, this isn't a business that I've been in for a long time in the print side of things, so I am just shocked at how many of these are out in the marketplace for events, for schools, whether it's a college or a high school or a booster club or a Kiwanis or you name it. In these particular cases, they're a little bit more generic. and the message goes on. Those custom shapes move into luggage tags and rulers and yard signs. And one that still sells a lot there on the left, it's not a custom shape, but is certainly custom imprints all the way around. And those are the silicone wristbands. I've got two boys in college and they come home with something new all the time. And that's one good audience for them. But obviously with concerts and causes, where breast cancer walks and other types of awareness things, the silicone wristbands still really stay strong. Let's see, we've got their yard signs and air fresheners. And that's really it for Gemini Industries. Gemini, if you ever have, I'm gonna go back to that slide since I'm still talking about Gemini. Notice in the bottom left, also made in the USA, but it's also a union shop when it comes to the printing. So we do get requests for union made items from time to time. And this is one of the very few places in our marketplace that you're able to find something that's worked on by a union. ProRose. ProRose is what I call kind of the catch-all and the place where if you're dealing with hospitality, catering, anything like that, then ProRose is the place to find the goods to support those efforts. So what I'm showing initially is another brand, and it's a brand you're probably familiar with called Silly Pint. So you're probably familiar with the little, it's a shot glass that looks like a pint glass there on the left. You might not be familiar with their clear silicone that looks like glass. And so I'm showing you a couple of different versions that it's one of my favorite things to walk in a room and toss one of these to someone and watch their reaction when they think a glass is coming their way. But at any rate, very unique products from Silly Pint, available through ProRose. And there's again a slew of different sizes and shapes, and even some more drinkware. So this is where, aside from the two water bottles on the right, you can see I'm going to start to get into things that are more catering and hospitality driven, like that large pitcher there on the left. And oh, look, more drinkware. I meant to pull this slide out just so I don't get drinkware fatigue. But I've got more drinkware here. And here we go, starting to move into the barware. So wine openers and things like you see from Bud Light and from Bacardi and Malibu, these napkin caddies that hold straws and the fruit trays. And, you know, these are things that are typically a little bit difficult to find in the marketplace. And they're certainly difficult to find with 4-color process logos, the kinds of logos that tell the message that the food and beverage industry wants to tell, right? Oftentimes you see these with like a 1-color imprint. Serving buckets. Now these trays, what I want to highlight here is each of those imprints is coming through from the bottom. So these are clear products. We print on the other side of the product and then put a protective coating over the imprint so it doesn't get scratched up and start missing. But bottom line is, you know, all the food that's served on top of these trays isn't messing with the logo, and it comes through and it's really high quality. So that football field, for instance, could be a floral pattern for a restaurant in the Bahamas, or it could be, you know, a face, you name it. Anything that you want to put on the bottom of these serving trays is how we decorate them and how you deliver value. And then things that you don't really think about, but you know they're out there in mass, like the talker display there on the left. You've seen these before. The acrylic separates and you put a menu or a dish of the day or whatever kind of message goes in there. They're great for events in the sense that it might have an agenda or some other kind of message. And then the penny pencil cup. I think we need to change the name of that now that we've, it sounds like the US has discontinued pennies. So I don't know what the next take a penny is, but that's still going to serve its place in terms of something that's on site at point of sale to hold pens and other items. And then lastly, Stromberg umbrella, again, for 80 years. And I know I've said it for the third time, but you haven't heard this. So over 80 years, this is all they do. So when you think about the inverted umbrella, that was born at Stromberg. when you think about, materials that shed better or that dry faster or that imprint better, this is how we innovate in umbrellas. And it doesn't always show itself in the silhouette of an umbrella, right? But knowing that the materials and the craftsmanship and that innovation does take place, it's just hard to communicate it sometimes. So these are just some new products. And okay, what's new about that umbrella, Rick? Well, you can see the way we've colored underneath, on the one on the top left, and then the unique handle for the centerpiece. That's how we continue to drive innovation in the space. I will say that imprinting on umbrellas, obviously, they need to be experts at it. This is all they do, but they are one of the few people that can decorate on the bottom of the canopy. And look, if our job is branding, then branding to the recipient is a big deal, and that does that. I said umbrellas is all we do. We did launch a couple of bags, but those aren't meant to make us a bag company. They're made to give us a delivery mechanism and give you a delivery mechanism to put an umbrella in a bag or in a cooler, etc., so that you don't have to shop from several locations to build a gift. And doing that, by the way, when you put things together, it kind of makes your opportunity or your what's the right word, proposals a bit more Google proof, right? So it helps you have an edge on the competition. I am not going to drain these slides other than to tell you these are our best sellers. You can see that the bestseller pricing starts at about the $8 range and kind of goes up into kind of that $20 range. And if I kind of get to the end here, the inverted umbrellas. If you guys want me to spend more time on these slides, I'm happy to, but I think you're getting the message. The product's the product. It's very good. What's important to know is the expertise that Stromberg brings to the market from a quality perspective and from an imprinting perspective. And who knew that patio umbrellas would be a bestseller? As big as Stromberg is, as many umbrellas as they sell, the patio umbrellas fall within their top 10, which to me was just, I've never sold them before, right? So I didn't know what an important piece of the business this is. So I wanted to call that out. So what I want you to think about is, what projects you've had that make sense for what you've seen today. I want to call out really what I think is the common thread amongst these companies. First is we have Arch Promo, and we have all of these individual companies, and they are going to remain individual companies. And what that means to you is they remain experts in what they do. They have local, on-site, real human being customer service at every place. It is so refreshing to be able to call up Gabby or Danielle or Tracy and get someone that can get out of their chair and go find out what's going on with your project or stop the presses or restart whatever they need to do. They're able to do at each one of these places, which I have, being in this for over 30 years, I just find that really refreshing. And they're customer first. That's the common thread about not only are they local, real people, but their mentality, our mentality, is customer first. So we want to make sure that you're getting the value out of what we're bringing to market, and before, during the project, and even after. And I think that's the message, folks. So we've been at this for about 30 minutes now. I think that's probably about the amount of everybody's attention. And I would just remind you that we are jumping on early with the strategic partnership for Promo Week EP. We're grateful for that opportunity. We take it very serious, and we're ready to help you build yours.
Awesome, Rick. That was fantastic. It's great going over all the individual brands. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Feel free to shoot them out or drop them in the chat. One thing I did is, with the individual lines, is it still best to do orders and POs through the individual connections on each one, or is there an overriding Arch a way to connect through that, or what's the preferred method for placing orders, quotes, that type of thing?
For well, the preferred method for orders and samples and that is exactly with, pardon me, with the individual companies.
Okay.
For now, I haven't seen any plans to change that. And what we're consolidating are the sales and marketing efforts, but we want the experts to remain experts within their own worlds, if that makes sense.
Right.
And with that breadth of product, even the way orders are entered and processed is pretty significant difference. So I think they'll probably stay separate, Ian, for now.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Makes sense. I don't know if anybody else has anything, but it doesn't seem like it right now. But I want to thank you for taking the time and really going over this, and thank you for being a part of, for Arch becoming a part of our strategic supplier initiative. Say that 5 times fast. So.
That's right. Well, thanks again. I hope you all have a great rest of the week. Happy Hump Day to those that remember the old Bud Light commercials, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Excellent.
All right.